Hello, my name is Carolyn Greenspon, and I am a Master of Teaching candidate at the University of Maryland, University College. This slideshow is an explanation of a student learning objective project that I conducted at Quince Orchard High School in Gaithersburg, Maryland during the fall of 2016. It is entitled Increasing Rhetorical Analysis Skills in AP Language and Composition. In Montgomery County Public Schools, advanced placement classes are open to all, and students are strongly encouraged to consider taking at least one during their high school career. This type of complete inclusion marks a change from previous years, when AP courses were highly selective, and only students that were deemed honors students were allowed to enroll. However, this type of requirement had the unintentional consequence of segregating many classrooms, and frequently African American and Latino students were placed at a disadvantage. Now, any willing and motivated student can and should have the opportunity to experience the rigor of an AP course, and every student will emerge as a better writer and a critical thinker. One of the fundamental components of the AP Language and Composition course in particular is rhetorical analysis. An essential skill to practice as a writer, it appears as one of the 3 essay questions on the AP exam in May every year. In order to achieve this goal, my students practice writing at least one rhetorical analysis essay per quarter. When first writing rhetorical analysis essays, many students struggle with both organizational lapses and with summarizing text instead of writing effective analysis. In order to correct these errors, I taught a specific organizational model called TEXT, T-E-X-T, where students provide evidence and analysis clearly and concisely. For this project, I focused specifically on the explanation, that students would write in their essays, in order to encourage them to think critically about the significance of an author's choice and to express those views in precise language with strong verbs and sophisticated words. Now, I would like to go over the student demographics and selection for this SLO project. First, the general demographics of the classes that I taught. I taught 3 periods of AP Language and Composition for a total of 90 students. There was a fairly even mix of male and female students in my classes. There was also a variety of Caucasian, African American, Hispanic, and Asian students. While most were juniors, there was a small percentage that were seniors. For the demographics for the SLO students, there were 5 total that I selected from different classes. They included 3 female students and 2 male Hispanic students. All of them qualified for FARMS, free and reduced price meal system. One student had an IEP related to reading comprehension, and another had exited ESOL in 2014. After selecting the students for my SLO project, I used several different standards to help guide the construction of the procedures of the SLO. They included standards from the Common Core State Standards Initiative, which the Maryland State Department of Education follows for the Maryland College and Career Ready Standards. They include: students will be able to write informative and explanatory text to examine and convey complex ideas, concepts, and information clearly and accurately through the effective selection, organization, and analysis of content. In addition, students will use appropriate and varied transitions and syntax to link the major sections of the text, create cohesion, and clarify the relationships among complex ideas and concepts. Finally, students will be able to produce clear and coherent writing in which the development, organization, and style are appropriate to task, purpose, and audience. I selected the students for my SLO through a pre-assessment. This pre-assessment occurred on September 1st and related to the first chapter of the novel The Great Gatsby, which we read in class. Students were instructed to read 2 short passages and then write a style analysis paragraph on one selection. Grading of the passages was focused specifically on the analysis displayed, in addition to general organization and SMUG, spelling, mechanics, usage, and grammar. 5 students in particular struggled to write insightful commentary, as well as the effect of an author's choices. Their work contained surface analysis or only contained a summary of the plot of the selected passage. In addition, their work had numerous errors in spelling, grammar, and punctuation that inhibited comprehension. These were the 5 students that I selected for my SLO project. This slide covers the parameters of the SLO project. The length of the project was 10 weeks from start to finish. The growth target that I wanted my students to achieve by the end of the 10 weeks was: students would demonstrate a greater level of critical thinking and increased use of commentary and insightful analysis. I measured this through both quantitative and qualitative data. The quantitative data included students being able to progress from novice to proficient according to the rubric on the following slide. The qualitative data included students will write an explanation that demonstrates critical thinking about the author's purpose and the effect of an author's choices that convey that purpose using precise language, not vague general language and blank words. This slide contains the rubric that I used to measure the students' progress on their pre-assessment through the end of the project. At the beginning of the 10 weeks, all of the students that I selected for the SLO either scored a 1 or a 2 on this rubric, either novice or emerging. By the end of the 10 weeks, I wanted all students to be able to score at least a 3 or proficient. After the pre-assessment, there were 4 data points that I measured for the SLO project. The first 2 data points also concentrated on the novel The Great Gatsby. One was a formative assessment, and the second was an in-class written summative assessment. The last 2 data points focused on a new unit, an opinion documentary rhetorical analysis essay. One data point was a formative assessment, and the second was a summative assessment. Over the length of the 10 weeks of the project, I used a variety of instructional strategies in order to increase the critical thinking and analysis skills of these students and to move their skills from novice or emerging to proficient. These strategies are supported by research and comply with the National Council of Teachers of English standards as well. This slide includes a list of the particular instructional strategies I used. First, I taught students to annotate. Second, I gave students reassessment opportunities with each assignment. Third, I provided graphic organizers so students would be aware of the TEXT model and the expectations for 2-to-1 analysis to evidence ratio. I also provided opportunities to analyze media and visual resources in addition to traditional texts. Finally, I collaborated with the members of my professional learning community to discuss curriculum and student data, and I took the results back to my classroom. The next few slides provide a more detailed look at the instructional strategies that I used. First, I taught students to annotate. They would annotate in class for every assignment using both highlighters and pens and pencils. They would first highlight keywords and phrases and draw word webs around specific words, searching for the connotations around those words. I would also have them write on the margins of the paper. They would identify the effect of the author's word choices and then describe how it was accomplished. My SLO students suffered from a lack of background knowledge, and annotation would force them to pay attention, to define unknown words, and to think more carefully about their analysis. In addition, I gave students reassessment opportunities with each assignment. First, students would submit first drafts of their work as a formative assessment. I would then provide comprehensive feedback on their work so that they could make corrections before they submitted it for summative assessment. This type of formative feedback has been shown to be exceedingly effective, as a study devoted entirely to low-achieving students and students with learning disabilities showed that frequent assessment feedback helps both groups enhance their learning. Next, I would provide graphic organizers so students would be aware of the TEXT model and the expectations for 2-to-1 analysis to evidence ratio. I would utilize graphic organizers to help guide students in constructing their responses to the text. Graphic organizers can be used in both reading and writing and can help students activate prior knowledge, identify text structure, and connect main ideas. By providing the same or similar graphic organizers with each assignment, I was able to have the students internalize the text structure and assist in helping students organize their thoughts during the various stages of writing. Finally, I made sure to provide opportunities to analyze media and visual resources in addition to traditional text. Students were able to study a variety of opinion documentaries, or op-docs, produced by the New York Times. Students then wrote a 2- to 3-page paper on rhetorical analysis from the op-doc of their choice. By breaking the routine of only analyzing text documents, I was able to appeal to different learning styles. Many of my students, including the ones in my SLO project, responded positively to the visual format and allowed them to think about rhetoric in a different context. Now, let's talk about the results of the SLO project. By the end of the 10 weeks, all but one of the selected students was able to achieve proficient status according to the rubric. 3 out of the 5 students progressed around the same pace, only achieving proficiency by the last data point, that of the summative op-doc rhetorical analysis essay. 2 students, however, were outliers, one surpassing expectations early, and one unable to achieve them by the end of the project. The first student, Giselle, absorbed my lessons quickly and easily, leading me to believe that she might not have understood the original pre-assessment assignment completely, and thus her results did not accurately portray her abilities. The other student, Ariana, did not respond well to my lessons and strategies, and was the only student to not arrive at proficient by the end of the 10 weeks. However, she was also frequently absent from class, and her intrinsic motivation seemed to be lacking. Here is a graph that shows all of the data points from the SLO project. As you can see, Giselle was able to achieve proficient status by the second data point after the pre-assessment. She was able to maintain this proficient status through the rest of the project. However, Ariana was not able to do so, and she has maintained her emerging status on all of her assignments. Finally, I would like to go over the greater implications for teaching from this SLO. The goals for this SLO did come directly from the AP Language and Composition Teacher's Guide, the Maryland College and Career Ready Standards, and the National Council of Teachers of English Standards. However, the instructional strategies and methods were my own design and implementation. Based on the success of this SLO, I would not hesitate to repeat these lessons again in the future, as the majority of the students responded well and easily. However, I would still like to incorporate new strategies for the future due to my one student who was not able to achieve proficiency. I would like to include more cooperative learning strategies. Within a group setting, student motivation to learn and contribute would be enhanced, and the students would be able to deepen their understanding of the concepts. I do hope that in the future I will be able to reach all of the students that I select for my SLOs and that they will emerge from the class as better, stronger thinkers and writers. Thank you for your time and attention as you have listened to my explanation for my SLO project. The next 2 slides contain a list of the references that I used in order to construct this project. Thank you.